I'm going to show you how to 100x your outputs and results without using AI. Look, my name's Dion. I have built some successful companies in the past, and I've helped hundreds of business owners around Australia double their revenue while getting their time back. Now, why do I say I'm going to show you how to 100x your output and results without AI? The reality is most people haven't even mastered the basics. At the end of the day, think of AI like a steroid. It's only going to enhance what you already have. So I want to show you how you can basically advance and master the basics of who you are and how your business and your life operates, so that when you plug in things like AI, it changes the game. So let's jump into it. So after working with hundreds of business owners, we start seeing patterns in what works and what doesn't work. But what you'll notice in these top key high performers, they've got a few different things that they have all mastered. So this is a human inside an energy bubble. Now, I want you to think as I'm going along here, what are the things that give us as humans energy? And there's 5 major inputs of how a human gets energy. So I'm gonna go through them in no particular order. So number 1, you've obviously got sleep. Number 2, you've got exercise. Number 3, you've got nutrition. Number 4, you've got hydration. And then number 5, you've got mindfulness. So what some people would call meditation. Okay. Now, yes, you're probably thinking right now is, yeah, Dion, what about breath work and ice baths? Yeah, I get all that stuff, but that's the 1% little things. You've got to master the basics. And then we look at all of our clients and their lives like an algorithm. So if we could create an algorithm, we need some sort of formula. So this is our formula. We've got energy times focus equals outputs or results. So here we've got our energy, creating, obviously going into ourselves, and then we've got focus, and whatever you focus on expands, giving you an output. So let's break this down normally. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 energy units going in times by 1, 2 focus points equals, obviously 2 times 5 is 10. So we're getting a result of 10. Now, the reason why I go over this is because you look at some of these CEOs, high performers, you look at these people at the top like the Bezoses and the Elon Musks. How do they literally get not just 100x outputs, how do they get 1000x outputs? And it's through this formula. Let me break it down for you. Let's go back to square one with our energy. Here's the crazy thing. Most of you guys following us are adults, right? But we haven't even mastered the basics. We haven't even got a 5 here. We're struggling with our sleep. We track all of our sleep on what's called an Aura ring. A lot of our clients and obviously team, they use Whoop. So step 1, you wanna start tracking your sleep. Are you getting the right amount of sleep? Now, I'm not gonna tell you how much sleep you need because everybody is different, but you need to be getting a good amount of sleep so your body can actually recover to get that mental state right, okay? Next one, exercise. Most people are too busy and they're not even exercising. That means more often than not, you need to exercise. Why? Because motion creates emotion. You think of anybody that's struggling mentally, they're not moving. They're usually in a room, shoulders slouched, and their physiology just spells depression. It just spells slow, almost victim mentality. You need to get the body moving, even if it's just to walk around the block. So you've got to exercise every single day. Next one, nutrition. Most people are eating shit and they don't know how good they're meant to feel until they actually do. It's just like buying a supercar. If you put shit fuel in the car, it's gonna run average. Just because you've got a great vehicle, but you're not maintaining it, you're not gonna feel the way it's meant to feel. But if you actually service it and put the correct fuel in it, you'll feel what that machine is meant to feel like. It's a race car. So we're not even mastering this. There's hydration. Most people, A, aren't drinking enough. And then when they are drinking, they're drinking water filled with crap. You need purified water with none of the bullshit in it. You know, fluoride free, okay? Do your research on that. And then finally, mindfulness. Some people call it meditation. Meditation never really worked for me, so I call it daydreaming. You need time to think. You need time to be still. Henry Ford said something along the lines of, the reason why most men don't succeed is because they don't have time to think. When they do, they don't know how to think. Most of us don't even know how to think and sit with our thoughts. Because a lot of the time when you do sit with your thoughts, that voice creeps in. You need time to think, and especially as a business owner. One of the key things we do with our clients is number 1, you need schedule in your calendar every single time to stop and do nothing and just think. And usually if you're a business owner, I say, all right, cool. All I want you to do each day is sit down and go, great, what is my number 1 constraint right now? What is my number 1 challenge? And that's the next thing you go and focus on. Why? Because he who solves the most problems wins. Most of us are stuck in our business and we don't even have time to think and work on the business, okay? So the reality is, most of us haven't even mastered this. Start here. And you don't have to go crazy into workout and doing gym and all that sort of stuff straight away. Start with the basics. You know, a lot of us have got an alarm to wake up. Have an alarm to go to sleep. What's your nighttime routine look like? What's your routine look like in the morning? How are you starting your day? Is it reactive, fight or flight? Or have you actually got a rhythm and a flow? Here's the thing. I don't really like getting up at 4:30 in the morning, but I do it because it's the only time I get each day where I get an hour to myself, where the kids aren't at me, my wife's not around, and our clients aren't around. Most people wake straight up into the day and their day is controlled by their environment because people are demanding their time. It's just one of the key things we do. Every morning I have time to myself where I exercise and with my own thoughts, or I listen to an audio book. I get my mind right. Next one, nutrition. You've all heard this saying, I don't need to go too far into this, I'm not your dad, but the reality is you are what you eat. What are you feeding this body? I'm telling you now, before we even move into focus side of things, you're gonna improve your outputs, your energy, and how you are as a being just by going and mastering the basics. And then finally, obviously hydration, get some good bloody water, and then the mindfulness side of things. Whether that's meditation, just time to yourself. For me, it's literally just time to myself. I sit in my sauna at night and I just think, or I even listen to some Alan Watts, but I let my mind wander. I let myself debrief internally. So here, most of us haven't even got a 5 here. So start here by mastering the basics. Next one is focus. So we're pretending we've got 2 focus points here. Here's the thing. This is where most of our clients and business owners playing at the top get the most momentum. It's because they know how to channel their focus. I don't know when you were a kid or not, you ever tried the whole thing with a magnifying glass? When you've got the magnifying glass, what you'll notice is if you have sun coming through the magnifying glass and it's just generalized, you notice it won't really do anything. It doesn't have any power. But if you adjust the magnifying glass perfect to a point, it will burn through a leaf. That's the power of focus. But most of us are scattered. We've got the same power like the sun, but it's not focused down to a point. You need to get focused. Why? Because where focus goes, energy flows. But not only that, what are you tuning your mind into? You need a clear outcome for the day. Why? Because most people get to the end of the day and you get home and it's like, babe, how was your day? Oh, it was huge. It was massive. I was so busy. Oh, amazing. What did you do? Oh, so much. And the reality is you were just busy. You're mistaking movement for achievement. It wasn't outcome driven. So rather than, focusing on to-dos, you need to focus on outcomes. So here's what we need to do. You need to improve your focus, and I'll give you an example in a moment. But here's the thing. Most of us have got bugger all focus. If we just improve 2 areas of focus, for example, delegate 2 tasks. If you just improve your focus in 2 areas, that's now a 4. You now got 5 times 4, which is 20. You've doubled your outputs and results by improving your focus by 2. This is the power of focus. Dion, that sounds great, but how do I improve my focus? I want you to think of this for a moment. What is the opposite of focus? It's distraction. So you need to work out what is taking your time. Where is your time going? Because the time, I know a lot of people are trying to make more money, and I get that. I know that's important in business, but the time is what you're never gonna get back. And the reality is a lot of us don't have energy to actually enhance the time we've got. And when we do have the time, we're bloody wasting it because we're just busy. So for you to get more productive, what I suggest is you do what we call our 100 units of time and energy audit. And what does that look like? It looks like auditing your week for 7 days, and you quite literally document every 30 minutes what you've done. Okay? So by the end of the week, you'll literally have a graph or a spreadsheet of all the things you've done throughout the week. Then you can take time to audit it on the weekend and go, beautiful, go through it, highlight everything green that lit you up and gave you energy and got you into flow. And everything that slowed you down or took you out of flow or it was frustrating, you're gonna highlight that red. And then you use what we call our ADD strategy. You go through those red ones and you go, what can I automate, delegate, and delete? And that'll get 30 to 50% of your time back. But not only that, I'm gonna give you a quick little insight on what we call blocking, or what some people call chunking. Now, I don't know if you guys will be able to relate to this or not, but I've got my manual car license. When I first got my car license, far out, it was so hard to drive a manual. You've got all this information. You've got to put the seatbelt on, you've got the clutch, you've got to change gears, you've got to look up, you've got to shoulder check, you've got to hold the steering wheel at 10 to 2, you've got to make sure the handbrake's off, you've got to make sure you're not bunny hopping it, you've got to look in the rear view. There's so many bits of information going on. So let's call it 9 bits of information. okay? And it's so overwhelming and confusing because you're focusing on all those different bits at a time. You're bunny hopping, I dropped the clutch, still got the handbrake on, forgot to show, don't have my seatbelt on. You've got all these bits of information. Let's call it 9 bits of information. Now, because you've done that so many times, you do it unconsciously without even thinking. You can literally drive, sip on your coffee, and you're usually going to one place and you've driven to the other place because you've done it so many times without even knowing. It's like, who was even driving then? It's because those 9 bits of things that you were doing has now chunked into something and it's created flow. You need to do that in your life. And here's an example. Most people are reactive day to day, answering their phone or notifications or emails whenever they come in. In other words, you're working on other people's times, not your own time. So what we say to our clients is allocate time to answer calls and get back to emails in a chunked block of time. Why is that so important? Because if you're in flow with a task, every time you're distracted, it takes 7 to 15 minutes to get back into flow. It only takes 4 distractions a day to lose an hour of productivity. How crazy is that? And the thing is, if you don't do this for yourself, how can you teach this to your team? You're wondering why your team's not efficient. So you need to block things in chunks so you can get into flow. Instead of scattered emails, do them at, maybe 9, midday, and 3. Oh, but what if it's really important, someone needs to get back to it? Cool, delegate that task to somebody else or get an AI automation to answer the phone. Whatever it may be, you need to get your time back. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna do the 100 units of time and energy audit, and it's gonna give you a list of things of where your time and focus is going. And you'll notice there's a lack of focus. Then you need to go through this whole list and you need to ADD, automate, delegate, and delete. You start this and you'll soon see why these high performers with the same amount of time as you have are getting 100x, 1000x, 10,000x the results that most average people are. This may sound tricky, it might sound over the top, but understand this. If you want to be a part of the 1% and get those 1% results, usually out of 100 people, if you're 1%, 99 people are going to think you're weird and different. Do this, I promise you'll optimize your workflow that you can also teach it to your team. Before you know it, then you can plug in your AI and all that fancy stuff as you go on, your ice baths and breath work if you want, and you'll soon have a team of 10 performing at the standard of a team of 100. Now, if you are a business owner and you want to learn how to be a part of those 1% companies compared to the 99%, watch this video, steal our strategy on how to become a 1% company to absolutely dominate in your industry. If there's anything you want to know, drop it in the comments and we'll make a video on it. See you in the next one.